What's up, guys, and welcome back to Traditions. Now, I'm sure you know it's October, it's spooky month, so maybe I should do something a little bit spooky at some point this month? Don't know yet. Maybe Halloween I'll do something. Maybe on Halloween I'll post something spooky. Give me ideas in the comments. But, another thing October is lesser known for is the art event Inktober, where each day artists will be given a prompt and have to draw their interpretation of that prompt. Now, frankly, I'm still getting good at this. I'm not the best at just taking a one-word prompt and running with it, but I love the challenge that this brings and I love participating. And it means I have a month worth of video ideas, so it's a great thing to participate in. So hopefully, sometimes I will be busy, but I was busy today and I still managed to do this. So hopefully I will be getting a video up every single day for the month of October. Now, as you saw in the title, today's prompt was dream. Now, I struggled with this prompt for a bit because a dream is, it's not a tangible thing, it's not an item, and I didn't really know how I could throw that in, and I didn't really think, how do you draw a dream? Because dreams can be so many different things, but I kind of came to this conclusion that really what a dream is kind of like another world. It's a world where anything is possible. So a dream should be something fantastical, something impossible, something that isn't real. And so I got this idea for this very ethereal floating islands with floating bridges that with some form of ancient ruins, and I thought, yeah, that I think that fits the theme, so that's what I picked and I ran with it. Now, I did this a little differently to how I usually do. Usually I do some line art and then I kind of just fix and fiddle with that line art until I'm happy with it, and then I start coloring. Well, this is Inktober, so I'm not going to be coloring. So what I did first was I did a very rough, very jagged sketch of what I thought this should look like. And then from that jagged sketch, I kind of fixed the lines up a bunch, kind of made them, I really don't know how to put it. I made a very rough thing. It was just a layout. Think of it as a rough draft of the final that I was going to do. And then from there, created a more refined version on another layer. And although I didn't do it in this video, because I will admit, there were a few things holding me back this video. First of all, as I stated, I was a little stuck on the prompt, but once I got past that, it was two main things. One, didn't have much time today, so I've been in a rush. The second thing was, I mostly draw in the sci-fi setting. I mean, I haven't demonstrated that on this channel that much, but in my day-to-day life, I mostly draw in a sci-fi setting, which means I'm usually drawing some sort of wacky creature or some sort of mechanical thing. I'm not usually doing terrain, and I have struggled with terrain for pretty much as long as I've been drawing, so terrain wasn't my strong suit, but I gave it a try anyway, and I think that's another great thing about Inktober. It gives artists a chance to kind of try things they wouldn't usually try. Also, I just used my normal brush because the brush I actually use for the digital is the ink brush anyway, ink pen, so I figured fits. And but what I was going with earlier before I started ranting, which this whole video is, honestly all my videos, and I'm doing it again, is kind of just me ranting. But before I got off track, what I was saying is that because this is Inktober, which means it's really supposed to just be ink, I'm not going to be coloring any of these, so I'm going to be focusing on improving my shading. Now, and what I was saying earlier was that that's not going to be as apparent in this one because I was short on time and don't really know how to shade terrain, so it was very generic shading. But for the other days, hopefully the shading will be pretty good, and or at least show improvement over this month-long period. Overall, I am actually pretty happy with the result. For someone who doesn't draw terrain very much, I felt like the floating islands looked decent. Could have done better with the brick texture. That's another thing I need to work on, is texturing. But overall, did really like what I did. I was kind of trying to go for this, for whatever reason, when I think fantastical, I always think ancient, which I think might just be the kind of, when people think of fantasy, they tend to think medieval, but for me, I do think medieval, but I'll go even further than that, like just ancient. So sometimes I think of like Greek or Roman kind of architecture when I'm thinking of fantastical. Don't really know where that association like started, but it's one that exists. So whenever I'm doing something fantastical, there will be a lot of Greek or Roman influence usually. I really wanted to add kind of, to make up for what I knew would be a not amazing shading job, I wanted to kind of create an atmosphere. So I did very similar to the thumbnail screen. What I did was I went around and tried to create this fog effect, and I like it. I think that it does a good job of kind of conveying the dream aspect of this, because another thing about dreams are that they're fuzzy. Very rarely are they crisp and clear. Dreams are usually kind of blurry and fuzzy and not completely pieced together. So I thought adding this kind of fog that surrounded the whole thing was fitting for the topic, and also just made for a cool addition to the piece. I don't have a ton to say about this one, just because it was pretty straightforward. It was, it's floating islands and ancient ruins. I do like how I did the tree, and one thing I do wish is I didn't know how to do the waterfalls. How do you do water black and white? I'm gonna have to like look at references for that if I ever plan to use water again, but I've never tried doing water with black and white, so the waterfalls kind of just got left alone, and that's definitely a lackluster part of the art. But overall, like I said, pretty happy, just because I'm not a guy who does terrain a bunch, and I think at least the shape and the general composition of the piece was good, so I took that as a win, and I'm excited for the rest of this month. I've taken the time to just look at the other prompts, and while I'm going to struggle with admittedly nearly the first half, the second half is loaded with really cool prompts that I can't wait to get to. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. So as always, please like, subscribe, and if you want to see one of your ideas get put in, remember to leave a comment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.